There is a principle so simple, so unassuming, yet so powerful that it has transformed average lives into exceptional ones. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not opportunity, it's consistency, specifically the consistent use of 1 hour a day. It's 1 hour, 60 minutes, 600 seconds. In the grand scheme of a day filled with 24 hours, it may seem small, almost insignificant. But let me tell you something, it is not the size of the time that matters, but the quality of your intention within it. So when you take 1 hour a day and focus it entirely on growth, on learning, on action that builds your future, something remarkable begins to happen. Imagine planting a seed. One seed, you water it today, nothing happens. You water it tomorrow, still nothing visible. A week passes, maybe two, and you start to doubt. But if you stay consistent, watering it every single day, keeping it in sunlight, protecting it from harm, so that seed breaks through the soil. Then it becomes a sprout. One day, it grows into a strong plant and eventually into a mighty tree. The magic didn't come from watering it once. The magic came from doing it daily. That's exactly how 1 hour a day works. You won't see the transformation on day one. You may not even feel different on day two, but stay with it, stay faithful, and by day 30, you'll begin to notice something. A shift in how you think, a difference in how you speak, a confidence that begins to build in how you move through life. The average person underestimates what they can do in a year and overestimates what they can do in a day. That's why they give up too soon. That's why they quit after 3 days of exercise, or 2 weeks of reading, or 5 mornings of journaling. They want fireworks after 5 steps, but transformation doesn't come in explosions. It comes in layers, gently added one consistent day at a time. Now here's the educational part. There's something called the compound effect. It's not philosophy, it's math. When you do something small repeatedly, the result isn't just addition, it's multiplication. 1 hour a day learning a skill doesn't just give you 30 hours after a month. It gives you a growing advantage. Each hour builds on the last. You don't just learn new material, you begin to understand it. It gets easier. Your brain adapts, your body responds, your discipline sharpens. You create momentum. And once momentum is created, it works like a silent force in your favor. You begin to wake up a little earlier. You begin to feel a bit stronger. You start seeing opportunities you used to miss. You speak with more clarity. You carry yourself differently. People notice. The world notices. And more importantly, you notice. The tragedy is that most people never give themselves the gift of that compound effect because they never stay with something long enough to activate it. They work hard in bursts and then disappear. But the game isn't won by the person who works hardest in a single moment. It's won by the one who stays consistent over time. 1 hour a day. That's not too much to ask. That's less time than most people spend scrolling on their phones. It's less than what most spend watching television. Less than the time spent complaining about what's not working in their lives. Take 1 hour and make it sacred. Block it off. Use it to build. Use it to stretch, use it to become. And the beautiful part is you get to choose how. Read, write, exercise, study, plan, reflect, pray, meditate, learn. Just make sure it's intentional. Make sure it's focused. Make sure it's aligned with the future you say you want. Because here's the truth. If you don't spend at least 1 hour a day creating your life, you'll spend all your time reacting to someone else's. That's how most people live, in reaction. They answer emails, respond to messages, go through the motions. But that 1 hour, that's where you rise above. That's where you move from average to excellent. You don't need to overhaul your life to create a new one. You just need to begin 1 hour at a time, every day, until it becomes part of your rhythm, until it becomes part of who you are, until you look back and realize that one small decision changed everything. So start today. Guard that hour like your future depends on it, because it does. The power is not in the intensity of the effort. It's in the consistency of the commitment. And when you show up every single day for your dream, the world eventually steps aside for the person who knows where they're going. Too often, people chase success with a narrow focus on tasks, checklists, and outcomes. They work harder, they hustle longer, they take on more, and yet they still feel stuck. The results don't match the effort. The opportunities don't seem to open up. The fulfillment never arrives. Why? It's because they focus only on what they're doing, not on who they are becoming. The real key to lasting success, meaningful progress, and inner confidence lies not in doing more, but in becoming more. Before you try to upgrade your work, upgrade yourself. The world doesn't respond to your tasks, it responds to your presence, your mindset, your beliefs, your skills, your attitude, the way you speak, the way you think, the way you handle pressure, and all of that comes from personal development. So that's why 1 hour a day spent on you, not your job, not your inbox, not your tasks, but you can change the entire direction of your life. People spend years learning how to do things, but rarely spend time learning how to think, how to manage emotions. It's how to lead, how to communicate, how to set boundaries, or how to grow their character. And yet, it's those inner skills that determine your outer success. If your inner world is weak, your outer world will collapse under pressure. But when you build the inner person, when you grow your wisdom, your discipline, your courage, your clarity, you become the kind of person success is drawn to. A career can be built on talent, but a legacy is built on character. And that kind of character doesn't come by accident. It's developed daily with intention. 1 hour a day reading great books, listening to great minds, reflecting on your actions, refining your thinking, asking better questions. This is the foundation of greatness. You see, your income rarely exceeds your level of personal development. You don't earn what you want, you earn what you are. You don't attract what you wish for, You attract what you've prepared for. The world rewards people not just for effort, but for value, and value is something you become through growth. So if you want to earn more, influence more, lead more, or create more, you have to be more. The beautiful thing is you can start right where you are. You don't need to be rich to begin growing. You don't need a title or a degree. You just need to make a decision that from today forward, you will not go to sleep without first investing at least 1 hour in becoming a better version of yourself. Over time, that hour becomes a foundation, a discipline, and eventually a habit. That habit becomes your new identity. People often ask, what should I do during that hour? The answer is simple. Anything that strengthens your mind, builds your skills, or sharpens your spirit. Read biographies of people who've walked the path you admire. Study your craft with full attention. Practice your speaking. Journal your thoughts and identify your blind spots. Meditate to calm your mind and develop self-awareness. Learn how to manage your time, how to master your money, how to lead with vision. There is no shortage of tools, only a shortage of discipline. And that's where most fall short. They want the reward without the routine. They want the change without the challenge. But growth isn't convenient. It doesn't show up when it's comfortable. It shows up when you commit to it regardless of how you feel. That's the price of greatness. The good news, it's affordable. You don't need to give your whole life to personal development. Just 1 hour, but give that hour fully. No distractions. No half-hearted effort. No multitasking. Let it be the hour that defines your day. As you grow, the world begins to respond differently. You speak differently, and people listen. You act with more certainty, and opportunities appear. You carry yourself with presence, and people respect it. Success becomes less about luck and more about alignment, because you've done the work, you've built the foundation, you've prepared for the moment. This is not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up for yourself even when no one is watching. Because the truth is, the most important work you will ever do is not on your job, but on yourself, your future, your income, your relationships. Your influence, they're all tied to the person you are becoming today. And that person is built in quiet, consistent hours of growth. 1 hour at a time. So stop chasing more. Start becoming more. Don't just do. Develop. Don't just act. Ascend. Who you are matters more than what you do. Because what you do will always rise or fall to meet the level of who you've become. Become the kind of person success can't ignore. And it starts not with a miracle, not with motivation, but with 1 consistent hour of personal development a day. That's the real game changer. Time is the great equalizer. Everyone has 24 hours in a day, no more, no less. What separates the exceptional from the ordinary is not how much time they have, but how they use it. And the most powerful use of time is to turn it into skill. 1 hour a day, focused and consistent, can transform your ability in any area of life. Whether it's health, wealth, or wisdom, mastery is not born. It's built slowly, daily, deliberately. There's a common illusion that mastery belongs only to the gifted, that it's a result of genius, of luck, of rare opportunity. But when you study the lives of the most accomplished people, whether they're athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, or thinkers, you'll find one unbreakable pattern: deliberate time, devoted to skill. They took time seriously. They turned hours into building blocks. They showed up even when motivation wasn't there. And they practiced until excellence became their standard. The truth is, most people want the reward of skill without paying the price of repetition. They want the benefits of health without daily movement. They want the income of a professional without the preparation of a craftsman. They want to sound wise without putting in the quiet hours to read, reflect, and think deeply. But skill doesn't show up because you wish for it. It shows up because you work for it, and working for it means dedicating time, not once in a while, not when it's convenient, but every single day. Let's break it down. If you spend just 1 hour a day learning a new language, in 1 year you spent over 365 hours immersed in that world. That's more time than some college courses. In 2 years, you're likely fluent. The same applies to financial literacy. 1 hour a day studying money, how it works, how to manage it, how to invest, how to build it, will transform your financial future. 1 hour a day in the gym or studying nutrition, and you begin to build a body that reflects discipline, care, and energy. 1 hour a day practicing communication, reading, writing, speaking, and you become someone who can move people with your words. It's not about cramming or sprinting. It's about showing up daily with purpose. You don't need 10 hours of overwhelm. You need 1 hour of focus. When you give 1 hour a day to a skill, you send a message to yourself and to the universe that this area of your life matters. And once you begin, momentum starts to build. What felt difficult in the first month begins to feel natural by the third. What was once foreign becomes familiar. What was once intimidating becomes your new comfort zone. That's the beauty of compounding effort. The early stages are slow, but the growth is exponential. Skill compounds. Confidence compounds. Focus compounds. And suddenly, people begin to ask, how did you get so good? They see the result, but they don't see the hour. They don't see the quiet commitment behind the curtain. There is no area of your life that cannot be improved by skill. If your relationships are weak, develop the skill of listening, empathy, communication. If your income is low, develop the skill of value creation, negotiation, and strategic thinking. If your health is suffering, develop the skill of movement, strength, rest, and fueling your body wisely. If your mind is anxious or unclear, develop the skill of stillness, journaling, mindfulness. There is always a skill that can unlock your next level, but that skill lives behind a door, and the key to that door is time. Not time wasted, but time invested. You don't need to change everything in your life at once. Just choose one area and give it 1 hour a day. Track it. Protect it. Honor it like an appointment with your future, because that's exactly what it is. And remember, the hour is just the beginning. What happens is that the hour begins to shape you. You start seeing the world through the lens of growth. You start applying what you're learning outside of the hour. You become more aware, more capable, more creative. You walk differently. You speak differently because you know you've put in the time. You've built something real. The average person spends hours reacting, scrolling, watching, consuming. But the master spends hours creating. Creating skill, creating wisdom, creating ability. And over time, that creation turns into transformation. So decide, what skill do you need? What part of your life is calling for growth? Choose it and begin today. Not with a grand gesture, but with one quiet hour. No fanfare, no spotlight, just you, the clock, and the willingness to become better. 1 hour a day can make you a master. Not because time is magic, but because time used wisely is power. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Turn your time into skill, and skill will turn your life into something remarkable. Success doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design, and design requires planning. There's a principle that's simple, yet often ignored. If it's not scheduled, it's not real. If you don't write it down, carve out time for it, and commit it to your daily structure, it doesn't matter how good your intentions are. It won't happen. Your calendar is not just a tool for appointments. It's a reflection of what you truly value. It shows what matters to you, not by what you say, but by what you make time for. Everyone has goals. Everyone has dreams. But only a small number of people ever achieve them. Why? Because most people rely on willpower and emotion to move forward. But emotion fades, motivation rises and falls. Life gets noisy, but a schedule is a promise. It is structure. It's your way of saying to the world, this matters to me and I've made room for it. When you block out an hour a day for personal growth or your health or building a new skill, you're taking control of your future. You're no longer living in reaction. You're living by intention. You're telling time where to go instead of wondering where it went. And once something is on your calendar, it becomes more than a hope. It becomes a priority. Most people live by accident. They wake up, check their phone, and react to messages, demands, distractions. They let the outside world dictate their focus. But if you want to live a life that stands for something, you have to take control of your time. Time is your most precious resource. You can't save it, you can't recycle it, and you can't borrow more of it. The only thing you can do is invest it wisely. And there's no better investment than scheduling time for your goals. Think about this. We schedule meetings with our bosses, deadlines for our clients, and appointments with our doctors. But how often do we schedule meetings with ourselves? How often do we treat our own growth, our own learning, our own development with that same level of importance? Most people don't. That's why their goals remain dreams instead of achievements. But if you want to separate yourself from the crowd, begin by doing what most won't. Put yourself on your own calendar. It doesn't matter how small the time block is. Even 30 minutes, if scheduled and protected, can become a turning point. When you look at your calendar and see time carved out for your health or reading or strategic planning, it sends a message, not just to the world, but to your own mind that your future matters. That you are building something, that you are becoming someone. Scheduling creates clarity. It removes decision fatigue. You no longer have to wonder what to do with your time. You've already decided. That clarity creates momentum. You begin to move with purpose. Your actions become aligned with your goals. And over time, those repeated actions become habits. And those habits, they build the life you once only imagined. Structure doesn't limit you. It frees you. It gives you space to grow, to create, to achieve. Without structure, your time will be taken by lesser things. Without structure, distractions will always win. But with structure, you become the architect of your own destiny. So your calendar should reflect your vision. It should have time slots reserved for your learning, for your self-care, for your relationships, for your long-term goals. If your calendar is only filled with obligations for others, but no time for you, you're not living, you're just managing. And eventually, that catches up with you. Successful people don't leave their priorities to chance. They schedule them. They know when they're going to read, when they're going to write, when they're going to train, when they're going to rest. That's not obsession. It's alignment. It's what keeps the main thing. Because if you don't protect your time, no one else will. So, today, look at your calendar. Does it reflect the person you want to become? Does it contain time for your personal growth? Does it respect your health, your focus, your relationships? Or is it filled only with what others expect from you? If it's the latter, don't be discouraged. Just start small. Take 1 hour. Schedule it, call it Growth Your Hour, or whatever reminds you of why you're doing it. And then honor that time like it's non-negotiable. Because it is, success begins with time. And time is controlled through scheduling. The more intentional you are with your time, the more powerful your life becomes. What's on your calendar is what's in your life. So schedule your greatness. Don't wait for the perfect time. Create it. Success doesn't come from big leaps taken once in a while. It comes from small, focused efforts done consistently over time. It's easy to underestimate the power of just a few minutes of effort each day. After all, how much can 15 minutes really change your life? How much can 1 hour a day really matter? But the truth is, when those minutes and hours are repeated with intention, they begin to compound. And just like interest in a savings account, small deposits made daily can turn into something massive over time. The compounding effect is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. In finance, it turns small savings savings into fortunes. In health, it turns short daily workouts into lifelong vitality. In learning, it turns a few pages of reading into deep knowledge. It doesn't matter how small the effort is. It only matters that it's consistent. Most people are looking for big wins. They want the breakthrough, the miracle, the shortcut. But real transformation is not explosive, it's progressive. It's built day by day, quietly, without applause. Imagine improving yourself just 1% each day. That's barely noticeable in the moment. You wouldn't feel like a new person after one day. But over time, that 1% compounds. In a year, you're not 365% better. You're over 37 times better. That's the power of compounding in action. But it only works if you stay consistent. It only works if you keep showing up. Consistency is what separates the hopeful from the successful. Anyone can do the right thing once in a while, but few can stay committed when the excitement wears off. Few keep going when results are invisible. Yet those who do, those who keep planting seeds even when they don't see growth, are the ones who eventually reap the harvest. Because every action you take is a vote for the person you are becoming. Every time you read, learn, train, or focus, you're casting another vote toward mastery, confidence, and success. The reason most people don't experience the compounding effect is because they quit too soon. They do the right thing for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, and when they don't see dramatic change, they stop. But the compound effect is silent at first. It builds underground like roots growing before a tree ever breaks the soil. There's no applause, no recognition, just effort. And then one day, the breakthrough comes. The change becomes visible. And what looks like an overnight success is really just the result of quiet consistency. That's why it's important not to measure progress by immediate results, but by the commitment to keep going. You may not notice how 1 hour of reading affects your mind today. You may not feel how one workout changes your health this week. You may not see how one journal entry shifts your thinking this month. But do it every day for a year, and your entire life begins to transform. The compound effect doesn't work on emotion, it works on commitment. It rewards those who stay when it's boring, who keep going when it's hard, who trust the process more than the outcome. Think of water dripping on stone. 1 drop does nothing. 10 drops, still nothing. But after thousands of drops, the stone begins to wear. What seemed unchangeable becomes shaped. That's the nature of consistent effort. Even the hardest problems begin to bend when you apply pressure over time. And that's what you're doing when you give your goals consistent attention. You are applying pressure, gently, daily, and relentlessly. Every habit, every discipline, every repeated action becomes part of your identity. You are not just building results, you are building who you are. And who you are will determine what you achieve. You won't need to force success. It will flow from the kind of person you've become. That's the deeper reward of the compound effect. It doesn't just change what you have. It changes what you believe, how you behave, and who you are at the core. So start small. Don't underestimate the impact of simple habits. A glass of water in the morning, 10 minutes of reading, a walk around the block, 1 conversation a day, 1 new idea journaled. None of these things will change your life overnight, but together, over time, they become unstoppable. The small efforts you make today are laying the foundation for something big tomorrow. Success is not about intensity, it's about consistency. Anyone can sprint, but few can pace themselves for the marathon. If you want big results, commit to small efforts. Every single day, make it part of who you are. Not something you do once in a while, but something you live. 1 hour a day, 1 action at a time, 1 habit at a time. Let it compound, let it grow. And trust that those small steps are leading to something far greater than you can see right now. Discipline is the silent architect behind every life that rises above the ordinary. It is the foundation of greatness. It's the unseen force that carries dreams from vision to reality. It doesn't shout, it doesn't seek attention, but its impact is undeniable. And the good news is discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. And it starts small. It starts with just 1 hour. 1 hour of focus. 1 hour of commitment. 1 hour where you choose to do what matters instead of what's easy. And when you do that consistently, you're not just mastering your schedule. You're mastering yourself. That's where real power comes from, self-mastery. Because when you can control what you do with your time, especially when no one is watching, you begin to take back control of your life. Most people let their lives be ruled by impulses, distractions, and moods. They do what they feel like doing and then wonder why nothing changes. But the disciplined person understands that feelings are fleeting and action must be intentional. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. And when you dedicate 1 hour a day to something meaningful, you're training that muscle. You're proving to yourself that you are in charge, not your laziness, not your excuses, not your emotions. This is why 1 disciplined hour can have a ripple effect through your entire day, because success isn't compartmentalized. When you become disciplined in one area, let's say reading or exercise or building a new skill, that same mindset begins to show up in other areas. You start showing up better in your work because you've already trained your focus. You start eating better because you've trained your choices. You start treating people better because you've practiced presence. That's how discipline multiplies. It doesn't stay in the box you built it in. It spills over until eventually your entire life begins to reflect the habits you've created. People often look at successful individuals and think they must have extraordinary talent or motivation. But what they really have is extraordinary consistency. They've built their lives around a few non-negotiable disciplines. And one of those disciplines is time management. They've learned to treat 1 hour as sacred, not because they're obsessed with routine, but because they understand the cost of neglect. Every hour you give away to distractions is an hour you never get back. Every hour you invest with discipline is a brick in the foundation of your future. This is not about perfection. Discipline doesn't mean you never miss a day, or never get tired, or never want to quit. It means you choose to come back again and again. It means you develop the strength to keep your word to yourself. And that's one of the most powerful forms of confidence, knowing that when you say you'll do something, you actually do it. Not just when it's easy, especially when it's not. And the beautiful part is that discipline becomes easier the more you practice it. At first, that 1 hour might feel like a chore. You might resist it, resent it, or try to bargain with it. But over time, it becomes your anchor. It becomes your edge. When others are spinning in circles, you have structure. When others are lost in distractions, you have direction. That's the gift of discipline. It gives you clarity, it gives you power, and it builds trust between you and your own potential. Think about it. If you had just 1 hour a day to change your life, what would you do with it? How would you spend it if you truly believed it could shape your future? That hour, if used with discipline, becomes the training ground for your mind, your habits, your character. It's not just about what you do during that hour. It's about who you become because of it. Each session builds resilience. Each choice sharpens focus. Each repetition deepens commitment. Discipline isn't harsh, it's freeing. Because it breaks the chains of procrastination. It silences the noise of doubt. It eliminates the need for willpower because your habits begin to carry you. And once you feel the momentum of discipline, you won't want to live without it. You'll crave that feeling of progress. You'll respect the process because you'll see what it's building, not just around you, but within you. One disciplined hour may not seem like much, but it's a symbol. It says, I value my time. I believe in my growth. I am willing to do the work. And when you live by those values day after day, something powerful happens. You stop drifting. You start leading yourself. And in time, you start leading others. Discipline shapes destiny. It's not about how fast you go. It's about how consistently you move. It's not about the size of the steps. It's about taking them every single day. 1 hour of discipline can change your focus, your habits, your identity, and ultimately your life. So start with that 1 hour. Make it yours. Guard it, honor it, master it, and let it teach you who you're capable of becoming.